In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the exact reason why most people struggle to find great property deals on platforms like Rightmove. And if you stay with me to the end of this video, I'm also going to share with you the simple single secret that you can utilize in order to find great property deals and circumvent all of the drama and trauma that people have scrolling on Rightmove and literally finding results that do not assist or help them. Now, if you're meeting me for the first time, my name is Samuel ICanWin, Ikhinwmin. I help people create consistent and colossal cash flow using resources and revenues that are hidden in plain sight. I've been doing this from as far back as 2004 when I worked as a full-time estate agent at the age of 19. So if this is of value to you, feel free to hit subscribe and become a part of this community so you can get all of the value that we have on the channel. So to get us started, let me start by asking the question, what do these two websites have in common? Well, the first website is the actual Rightmove website. If you look at this website, you can see that it has a specific setup and it's literally outlined a specific way. And one of the reasons why I believe it's laid out in the exact way and functional format that it's laid out this way is because something I often say, I first learned from Jim Rohn, who says success leaves clues. So what is the more successful website that Rightmove is taking a clue from in order to present itself like this? And I believe that website is the website Amazon. If you look at the Amazon website, there are two primary things we see when we come into this page. The first one is it starts with search. It allows you to search whatever you desire to look for. But then it has a bunch of categories and tiles here for you to switch or pick which categories you desire. Now, if we look back at the Rightmove website, we can see the exact same framework is there. Now, why am I saying this to start us off as the foundation? Well, to start us off, what I want us to understand is that when you come onto a platform like Rightmove, its structure is all based around success, maybe in a completely different market. It's all based around success, maybe in a completely different niche. And what that generally tends to mean is that you have to understand the purpose of the website before you can start understanding whether the website is purposeful for you or for me as it pertains to us finding great property deals. Now, as you can see with this framework of first search and secondarily categories, buy, rent, sold, you can see that the Rightmove website is following the central tenets that we also saw on the Amazon website. And this is great because this is helpful for us to understand who Rightmove is targeting their platform to. And very simply, I'm here to tell you that the foundation of what we have to understand before we go deeper into understanding why you may have struggled to find great property deals in the past is because foundationally, Rightmove is set up to target a mass market, just like Amazon, mass market portals, okay? And because they're mass market portals, that simply means something very interesting for you and very interesting for me. It simply means that we're not going to find great opportunities in mass market environments. And to keep it simple with you, I know this isn't a biblical interpretation, but this is definitely a business application. And that is that wide is the road that leads to destruction, and many there be upon that road. But the contrast of that, he also said, is true. Jesus went on to say that narrow is the road that leads to godliness and righteousness, and few there be upon that path. Now, as I mentioned, that's not an interpretation, but there's directly here a business application. And that application is, if you want to get results like everyone else, then you can keep on doing the same as everyone else. But if you want to get results like no one else, you're going to have to do the things that no one else is doing. And we can see that this website is clearly targeted at a mass market audience, which means if we follow mass market processes, we are also going to get mass market results. Now, with that being said, let me now share with you exactly the 3 core reasons which cause people to struggle when they're finding property deals on platforms like Rightmove. And the first reason is very simple. It's because of a concept which we should all be familiar with, which is called Chinese whispers. Now, we should all be familiar with this concept, and effectively, the concept really outlines the fact that when you are communicating a message through multiple different members, i.e. people, typically what tends to happen is that message is diluted before it gets to the ideal person the message is supposed to be getting to. So if we take this example and think of it from a property perspective, let's say you are interested in communicating a property deal to someone else. And we can even use the Rightmove example to help us with this. So if we look at the website Rightmove and we plug in a postal code, I'll just pick this one, E33RS in London, and we search, and we've got no properties coming up here. So let's extend the search by 1/4 mile and see what comes up. So we've got these apartments showing up inside of London. Let's pick the first one that's not a premium advert. We've got Morris Road, London, E14, 1-bedroom apartment, 1 bathroom, 0.14 miles from where we're looking, and we can see that this is on the market for £1.1 million. Okay, so if we go into this listing, we can see there's a specific agent that's actually advertising this property, and this is where this all starts to come together. So if we're thinking about why people are struggling to actually find great deals on Rightmove, it's because when you go on a platform such as Rightmove, there is you and then there's Rightmove. But then, like in the case of this Morris Road property, there's also a specific agent representing it. So let's say that the agent in this case is someone called Tracy. Okay, so you are going to be sending your message, whatever that may be. Hey, can I get a viewing? Or hey, I'm interested in this property. Or even if we get all the way to the crux of the matter, hey, Tracy, I'd like to make an offer. You're consistently sending that message to Tracy. But here's the thing, Tracy is not the decision maker. And I remember when I got many of my first jobs growing up in the area of sales, they would always say to me, if you are engaging with someone who's not the decision maker, you are only ever wasting your time until you get to the decision maker. Now, what's interesting is having an agent like Tracy, in this case, in between you and the actual decision maker isn't the only actual barriers, because before Tracy's able to speak to the decision maker, and let's say the decision maker is someone named Tina, and Tina is here in the process, Tracy has to also go through some kind of process in order to communicate to Tina. That might be a specific communication channel. That communication channel might be a phone call. It might be an email. If you're old school like me, it might even be something like a fax, okay? But there are certain channels that Trace is going to have to go through in order to communicate and connect with Tina. And what happens is this whole situation creates the predicament that many people go through, where the Chinese whispers are the actual thing that dilutes their message by the time it gets to the decision maker. So this is the first reason why most people cannot find great property deals on platforms like Rightmove, because there is a Chinese whispers effect that is taking place all of the time. Now, with that being said, let's look at the second reason, which is actually preventing most people from being able to succeed in terms of finding great property deals on platforms like Rightmove. And the second reason is caused by the first reason. Now, because of the fact that there's these Chinese whispers taking place, that now creates a issue in terms of the weighting of your specific message. Now, when I say the weighting of your message, I don't know if you've heard this before, but emotion is energy in motion, okay? Emotion is energy in motion. So if you call up Tracy with a specific offer with a certain kind of emotion, that emotion is your energy transferred in motion or over motion, okay? And if Tracy, for example, doesn't engage with that same emotion, she is now going to change the weight of your message by changing the emotion that comes with your offer, okay? And basically, in the simplest of senses, what's happening is your message is changing its weighting. So if, for example, you said, hey, Tracy, I've been looking at the property online and I'd love to have a viewing as soon as possible. Soon as possible to you might mean today at 4 p.m, whereas soon as possible to Tracy might mean before the end of the week. And this is how the weighting can be transitioned from that simple example that I've just given you all the way to a more pertinent example. Like, for example, if you made an offer when you saw this property and said, hey, Tracy, I'd like to offer £1 million, but the energy coming in the actual offer from Tracy to Tina is, well, we've got someone who wants to offer just £1 million. And as you can see in both of these predicaments, the energy being shifted over the motion is actually a change in the weighting of the whole messaging. So that's the second reason why you don't find great property deals on platforms like Rightmove. Firstly, because of the Chinese whispers effect. Secondly, because of the weighting of the messaging. Now, the third reason is kind of what I actually revealed to you in the first demonstration with the websites. And the third reason is because of the width of the market you're looking on. If you're looking on Rightmove, you're looking on a very broad platform. You're looking on a very broad landscape. And by virtue of that, it's a mass market, similar to what I showed you at the start of the video with Amazon. And by virtue of the fact that it's a mass market, you are not being catered to as someone who's attempting to find a great deal. And to explain this in the simplest of fashions, one of the things that we need to understand is that most people don't have great deals. And if you do what you've always done, you're ultimately going to get what you've always got. And if you do what everyone else does, you're ultimately going to get what everyone else has got. So if we understand that statistically most people don't have great property deals, we have to understand that we have to do something slightly different to what the majority or the mass of the market is actually doing. So let me just give you a bit more detail on each of these 3 layers before I go into the actual simple solution to solve all of this. So not only is the width of the market a problem because it's a mass market, your weighting is also a problem because it's minimizing your message. So every time you actually say to a landlord or seller through an agent, through a portal, through these communication channels of email, text, fax, whatever have you, your message is being minimized each and every time. And then last but not least, because of the fact that there's this Chinese whispers effect, this Chinese whispers effect is caused because there are too many members in the chain. Okay. So a quick question would be, well, Samuel, how do we solve this? And it's really kind of simple how to solve this, but the key to solving this is looking at what the problems are caused by this. So the first problem is there's too many members. So the solution will be something where we have to minimize the members inside of the chain. We don't want to have a Tracy and a Tina and a Rightmove and a cool email text. All right, we want to really minimize all of this stuff. We want to get to a place where this is no longer a barrier and this is no longer a barrier and these are no longer a barrier, and we're getting as close as possible all the way directly to Tina in this case, or to the decision maker. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we want a solution where the Chinese whispers are eliminated, not having too many members. The second thing we want to do is we want to have a solution where we're no longer minimizing our message. So we don't want our message being changed. We don't want the weighting of our message being changed by virtue of the fact that there's too many members. Now, the good thing is if we eliminate the too many members, we sort of kind of automatically eliminate the messaging being minimized. And then last but not least, we want to make sure that we're not doing a wide market strategy or a wide market targeting. We're not in a situation where we're following a mass market. So a question to ask ourselves is, well, Samuel, how do you actually not follow a mass market? How do you actually ensure your messaging is not being minimized? And how do you make sure that you're not engaging with too many members? And the answer to this is actually quite simple. It's the same way that Shakespeare hundreds of years ago would get many people into his theater in order to play his presentations to them. It's the same way that today the Rightmoves of the world, the local estate agents of the world actually get people like you and I to consider them when we want to sell a property or when we actually want to buy a property. And the answer is direct marketing. For a number of years, I've been teaching people how to follow a simple 4-step formula, which is market, then manage the relationships created from the marketing, then transition to measure the opportunity available, and then last but not least, literally mature the opportunity that you have. So Just to leave you in this video, I'm going to encourage you, if you're someone who's looking at finding great property deals going forward and you're keen to further your financial future, then I want to encourage you to start looking into directly marketing to sellers who literally desire to sell their properties to people like you and I to help them move out of a particular predicament they might be in, but more importantly, to help you move further faster in your future. With that being said, ICanWin signing out. I pray you got tons of value from this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so that you can literally let the YouTube platform know that you are finding value from this content, and more importantly, that you'd like more content like this. And like I usually say, remember that small keys like these open up big doors. Good day, God bless, and I'll see you on the next one. Let's go.